Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of In Review. I'm your host, Josh Gary from JoshG.tv, and this episode I will be reviewing Michael Crichton's newest novel, Pirate Latitudes. Now, Pirate Latitudes was published in November of 2009, which, if you didn't know, which is posthumously. Michael Crichton passed away shortly before, and what happened was his assistant found the manuscript for this novel on his computer after his death. Some people say that it may have been written in the mid-90s when he took a trip to Jamaica. Basically what it is, it's about a group of pirates in Jamaica, Caribbean area around the 1600s, late 1600s. And basically the governor of the British colony basically hires Captain Charles Hunter to raid a Spanish fortress island for a galleon that they think has some gold on it and such. It's a little bit different from Michael Crichton's normal stuff. Of course, a lot of his stuff has a lot of science in it, which of course it takes place, in the 1600s, so there's not really a lot of science. But he does have his natural poetic flair, more or less. He kind of creates a little bit of an Ocean's 11 kind of feel, because Captain Hunter, when he goes on to this job, he has to hire a bunch of ragtag groups. Like there's a Moor that doesn't speak. There's Lazoo, which she's French, but she passes for a man. She's got an excellent eye. He hires a guy that is an excellent sailor that can basically sail any boat. There's a guy that's a specialist in explosives. So, you kind of get all of these personalities going together. Now, I will say, though, that Michael Crichton, with the science, that's what I like about him, and being in this time frame, it didn't really get a lot of that, but you get a lot of the historical stuff, dates, times, places, things of that nature. I definitely had the feeling that it was an unfinished manuscript, just simply because there were parts of the book where you thought, okay, well, it's going to end here. Well, heck, I've got 2/3 of the book left to go, so that really can't be the place. It kind of felt like it jumped, like there wasn't really a solid story in mind. It was just written down as notes and then kind of put together. There was even a part sort of near the end where they fight a huge kraken, which, if you don't know what a kraken is a giant squid. It made it almost seem science fiction-y, a little bit different. Science fiction for Michael Crichton. I mean, a little on the lines of, aliens and monsters and things. There's even talk of Steven Spielberg taking the book and making it into a feature-length movie, which that might be kind of interesting. We'll see how they do. Steven Spielberg always does great stuff. The book, if you get it now in its current manuscript or novel form in hardback, the pages are kind of semi-torn on the edge, which kind of gives it that old 1600s kind of, where the books, they weren't all perfectly cut and everything. I thought that was a nice little touch. But in the end, I give the book a 3G, just simply because I did enjoy the book, but like I said, there were a couple parts that felt like it wasn't put together real well, and it wasn't standard Michael Crichton. So you kind of have to look past that. If it weren't Michael Crichton, I don't think I would have given it as big a score as I did if it would have just been a random book that I'd have picked up. But I gave it a 3G just simply because it is his name, it is posthumously. It's kind of one of the last things that we'll be able to get from him. But Pirate Latitudes for Michael Crichton on this episode of In Review.